We're recording, we're live on Facebook and we're talking about tree oils. It all began in the garden. We're here on the Plant Power Half Hour once again, streaming live to our herbalist group. You said you're excited. What are you most excited about? We're doing 4 today. What are they?
Oh, today we are talking about blue spruce, black spruce, juniper, and pine. So, what do all these have in common?
I don't know.
They're
What-
trees, they're bushes, they're evergreen shrubs,
Oh, that's where you're
right?
going with it. I was thinking, they can be used for respiratory conditions. Yeah.
Actually, they can. They all are great support for respiratory. They're
Yeah.
all great support for calming and grounding the body. They are all great for muscle support too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they have a lot in common, but yet they smell very different. So it's really fun to experiment. But as I was refreshing the information this morning and rereading these, and then of course I got to open the bottle and smell them again and
Yeah.
put them in my diffuser back there. And I'm like, yeah, I feel good. Like I gotta get these at the front of my pile again so I can just really walk into my day like really calm and grounded. This feels really good. Do you use these often or do you just think about these during the holidays?
Yeah, mostly during the holidays, exactly what you're saying. And it's funny because they kind of have more of an affinity for men. Men kind of gravitate more towards these couple reasons. One, a couple of them help to boost, pine in general helps to boost testosterone levels. I know that blue spruce also helps to boost testosterone levels. Not so much black spruce doesn't really have an affinity for that, but yeah, men tend to gravitate towards these. And kind of my story with it is I didn't know why, but I always wanted to walk in the woods or a pine tree forest. I actually lived the development I lived in when I was growing up was called Pine Tree Ponds, because there was a huge pond and there was behind my house, you go down this hill, we would sled down the hill and there was this massive pine tree forest down there. And we would ride our bikes, we created bike trails through there and we were always climbing trees, playing with the sap and getting all sticky. And it wasn't until much later when I started studying plants that I realized what in effect, exactly what you said is, oh, it
Mhm.
just makes me so happy and it lifts your mood and it just raises your spirits, opens up your respiratory and your respiratory system allows you to breathe deeply and bring all of that in. But as kids, you just know like it smelled cool and it was really fun to ride through the woods. But we were drawn to that. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
fun.
and now with this new phrase everyone is using of forest bathing,
Yep.
is essentially just taking a walk through a wooded area. It doesn't have to be a huge forest, but even a park path, like I love to do behind my home every day, and just getting in there and just smelling those trees. Yeah, there is something that just feels good and uplifting when you just take a break from the regular houses and business and, just being around a few trees, just soaking that in has a huge impact on our emotional balance. So I love it. I definitely need to bring these out more. I love that Young Living doesn't really say there's a color coding to their bottles and labels, but there's always kind of a theme. If you ever sorted your oils by colors, these are all
Yeah.
blues and greens, right?
Yeah.
So there is something to that. I don't know the pattern behind it, but there definitely have similarities. So mine
Emotional
are
oils are
all,
often pink, harmony and joy, and a lot of those
yeah,
those
yeah.
uplifting emotional oils are kind of pink, and some are a little bit more purple color. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So when I first started looking at these, I paid more attention to these, obviously around the holidays. But I wanted to figure out, since I use an artificial tree, like which one really smelled like
Smells
a
nice. Like
real tree to me.
yeah.
And a lot of people have different answers because the most common trees in their area may be different. So some people really love pine, but I really liked the black spruce, the Northern Lights black spruce. And Northern Lights black spruce comes from our farms in Canada or Idaho, where they're seeing in the area of the Northern Lights, right? So in the Midwest, that would make sense that this would be a blend that I would feel like, yeah, this feels like a natural Christmas tree to me.
To gravitate towards pine because we had pine trees behind us, not the
Yeah.
spruce. And just for clarification, black spruce is not a pine tree. It's from the Pinaceae family. It is not from the Pinus family. So pine trees need to come from that Pinus family. But oftentimes we think, oh, the needles look the same. That's a pine tree. The difference is the spruce family has a single leaf or a single needle that grows by itself singularly. When you look at pine trees, they grow in clusters of 2, 3, or 5 needles. So there is a distinction here. We don't want to confuse anybody, but from a scent perspective, people will use spruce trees for Christmas trees, and some people will use pine trees. So
Yeah, yeah. And they all have a little different vibe, a little different coloring to them as well. So
yeah,
really fun to absorb. So I love reading Dawn's book and highlighting some of the things that she's put in there. And one of the things that I really liked about the black spruce is she brought back to mind the mental focus that is so helpful with the black spruce. So have you ever put a drop of oil on the crown of your head?
absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm going to use this as my mirror so I can watch. Well, maybe this bottle's getting empty. Oh, there, I felt it. And drop it on my head. Otherwise, I can't really see it. And it's so light, I can't really feel it. But it's not going to make my hair oily because essential oils are evaporate so fast. They're volatile, which I always think it means it explodes, but really it means it just jumps into the air. Like it's
It's not what it doesn't have the viscous to
yeah.
it, like the fat to it that makes it all, slimy or sticky.
Yeah, but what a great way. If this is about mental focus, put it on the crown of
Yeah.
my brain. Like,
Yeah.
yes, get it closer to my brain. I'm going to absorb anything else I can support that and have a really intentional day there. But again, the smell of it's just so calm and grounding.
Yeah.
Are there other ways you like to use
I don't use the
black
black
spruce?
spruce that way. I use the next one we're talking about is blue spruce. And I
Mm.
do use the Idaho blue spruce, both, on the temple, on your third eye, and then in the locus coeruleus, that little dent underneath your skull, right at the top of your spine, right in there. And there's a lot of different tapping protocols to do when you're using that to help relaxation, help calm the nervous system, help to release trauma triggers. So I've used that one primarily, not so much the black spruce. Black spruce is interesting. I've put a few drops of that into like muscle or tension types of things, or white fur is another one that, and you can't even get it right now. I don't even think they have it available because it might be protected or they don't have the resources. But putting that in like your muscle rubs and things, oh my gosh, it's just heavenly, and it melts the muscle. And that white fur is one of my favorites for that. So blue spruce or black spruce, haven't used it nearly as much as I've used the blue spruce.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. I gravitate towards the black
Yeah.
spruce more
Yeah.
than the blue spruce.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about blue spruce before when we talked about bedroom oils, because that's definitely one that um, guys love to use because it helps boost confidence. And when confidence is stronger, a little bit more abilities happen in the bedroom differently as well. So this is definitely a common one for men to enjoy either wearing it as their cologne or using it in other ways. It's very
Considered
common.
an aphrodisiac, and that is a spruce that does stimulate testosterone production. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
typically that comes from pine pollen, but blue spruce is one of those that can boost the testosterone.
Absolutely. Also, she's mentioned how it's used on skin. I haven't done that before, is to use it
Mhm.
on skin, but that would make sense because if we think about the sticky sap of a lot of these evergreens,
Yeah.
Wouldn't that create the Great Barrier as well? Now, we're not using the sappy type of thing in the oil bottles. These are actually steam distilled from the branches and needles and twigs of the tree so that it's going to help um, all the oils that come out of that process to be in a clear and simple um, oil product that's easy to use and not sticky or tacky like when you're cleaning up pine branches or evergreen branches.
Yeah.
She has a beautiful recipe in here. Did you see in the blue spruce section? She has a love potion number 9 diffuser
Oh,
blend.
yes, I see it. Yeah.
So her diffuser blend includes 3 drops of the blue spruce, 3 drops of the ylang ylang, and 3 drops of orange. So yeah, all of those great aphrodisiacs, and the combination, I think that'd be a very happy couple.
Yeah. Love it.
Juniper is a little bit different. It's more like a shrub or a bush
It is.
type
Yes.
plant. The very first time that I visited Young Living Farms, they were actually distilling juniper that day. And so
Oh,
they had giant mounds of it outside the distillery, and they were packing it into the large containers, pressing it down, and then getting that distillery running. So it was really interesting to see the volume of product that's put into that. And I hadn't really paid attention to what juniper even looked like, or I don't know. Juniper shrubs and bushes are all around, but I've never give them attention until I really could smell it that day. And I could really see, like, oh, there's something valuable here. Like they want to draw out this essence from this plant. What's that all about? That captured my interest. And then, of course, I started seeing them everywhere.
I think this is probably my favorite. No, alcohol. You know, juniper is the primary ingredient. Alcohol. Where is she going with this? Primary juniper. You think of gin. It's the primary one of the primary flavors or scents that you have in gin. And I am fascinated by gins because they use so many botanicals in them. And my absolute when I was in living in Wisconsin, in New Richmond, Wisconsin, there's a distillery and they make their own gin there at Parallel 45 and they use I think 9 different botanicals, but they have this amazing gin flavor to it. I mean, I'm sorry, I call it gin flavor, but juniper flavor. And when I think of gin and juniper, like they go hand in hand, like they're interchangeable. It's like, oh, it smells like gin, but it's juniper. You know, that's how you identify a gin is by those botanical scents. And so it's my favorite. But I do have another story to tell you on this one. I had a friend who, when I lived in Nevada, I had a friend come over and she was dealing with a bladder, UTI, some of those things that were happening in her body. And I said, "Well, have you ever used juniper for that?" And she was like, "No." You mean like drinking gin? Because that's what people associate it with. I said, "Well, you can just put a berry or two in a glass and add some hot water to it and drink it." And she goes, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah, go help yourself." I had a big herb cabinet and people came over and got herbs and stuff. And she was a friend, so she knew where it was. And she did some herbal stuff and had hiked with me. So she went in, she grabbed some juniper berries. She didn't grab one juniper berries. You know, usually you use like a teaspoon of plant matter to a cup of water when you're making an herbal tea. So she put them in and I started the hot pot and she made it and she drank it. And about 15 minutes go by and she's running to the bathroom and then she's back. And then 15 minutes, she's running to the bathroom and then she's back. And the 15 minutes, she's running to the bathroom. She's like, "What's wrong with me?" And I said, "Well, how many juniper berries did you put in that tea?" I said, "It only takes one because it stimulates that urine production." It was trying to clean her urinary tract and urinary tract system. And she had a little bit too much for juniper berries. So less is more with herbal medicine. We think that just because it works, we should add more. No, less is more. When Paula says 1 drop of essential oil, she means 1 drop of essential oil because it's so concentrated. And same with herbs. I mean, that was the juniper berry itself, but very concentrated. The body feels it. The body can start to react to it and start utilizing those nutrients and that the beneficial powers of our plants as soon as it the body recognizes it as soon as you take it in. So just keep in mind, less is more.
Yeah, yeah. And especially Young Living oils are not diluted. So
Mhm.
save your money. Like these bottles last a long time when you're only using a drop or two at a time. This is going to be around for a while. Yeah.
And juniper it is a bush, but did you know that it's from the cypress family? Is it Cooperaceae? It's pronounced Cooperaceae. It's from the cypress family. So cypress, massive tree. And then you have these junipers that are part of that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah, just another one that's just calming and really just helps connect you to have peace and spiritual awareness. I feel anything that reminds me of nature or brings me back to times when I'm in nature is just another way that connects me to God and connects me to something outside of myself, bigger than myself, and really, again, brings me back to that calm. Like, can I say that word 100 more times in this? Like,
yeah, evokes
I'm
feelings
feeling
of
it
peace and
here.
spiritual awareness, deals with low mood or anxiety, anxious feelings. You know what? I actually pulled out my juniper this week when I read this section because of one sentence in here. A lot of times I don't go dig it out, say, oh yeah, I'm familiar with it. We're talking about it. But this one, and I haven't used this in a really long time, but I do like gin. If I'm gonna have a cocktail, I'll have this. But I pulled it out for one reason, and it says here, when life and circumstances feel out of control, bend your knees in prayer and then reach for a stabilizing oil like juniper. And my house sold. I'm moving in 3 weeks now. Here's the countdown. Life feels out of control at the moment. Boxes and things and stuff happening. And so I grabbed my juniper and I've been diffusing it. It's just like, oh, I'm going to use the word now. Peace and calming amongst us with that
Yeah,
juniper oil. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing to see. And I love how she incorporates some scripture into the book too. She has right there in that same section, I also underline that area as well. But that's where she quotes Philippians 4:7, the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Yeah, peace with prayer, peace with nature, peace with trees, just breathing,
Yeah.
intentionally breathing, but breathing in these oils, bonus. Breathing in the
Bonus.
oils with prayer, the trifecta right there.
Yeah.
Bring it all together.
For sure. I agree. I agree. What was our fourth oil?
Pine,
Oh,
pine.
pine. Oh, I jumped the gun when I was talking about my pine story, running through the woods.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
love how she also shares in her book some of the historical uses of what it
Yeah.
was used for in the past, and then also, of course, what it's used for today. But I was surprised when she wrote in the past, people stuffed mattresses with pine
Yes. Pine
needles
needles.
to
I've
help
slept on
with
pine needles when camping. Yeah.
really, really just
Yes.
help with bugs and all kinds of things. But when I think of pine, initially, I grew up in the time when Pine Sol was like the thing. Like you clean with
Oh,
Pine
yeah.
Sol, you walk into a place and you're like, oh, yep, it's clean because we could smell that Pine Sol. Now it just repels me because that's not pine. That is a chemical copy of what pine should be. And it's actually so harmful to our bodies too. So, really paying attention to what's in your cleaners. If it says fragrance, it's hard.
Probably
It's
made in a
hard
lab.
to distinguish. It's probably made in a lab. And sadly, there's so many of these labels that say natural and made of essential oil and
A natural scent. That doesn't mean that the contents are natural. It means there's a natural scent. The scent is pine and it is from nature and we've replicated it and put it in here, but it can just say natural scent. Doesn't mean that it comes from pine essential oil at
yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. So this greenwashing is so easy to fall under the trap because we're trying to read labels. We see those names on the front and we're like, oh yeah, that's a safe one. That's a good one. But flip it around and look at that list of ingredients to see what really is it made of, what's in there, to break it down and see, is this stuff that's really safe? If I am cleaning and scrubbing with this, I'm going to be smelling it. If I'm going to be scrubbing anything, of course, I'm going to be touching it. My skin's going to absorb it. If I'm washing my clothes in it, my clothes are absorbing it. So whatever it is, make sure that it is truly safe, simple ingredients that your body will benefit from, not have to work harder to process out of your system too. So I could go on a whole different soapbox about that, but maybe we should talk about that in a different series. Clean.
Yeah, when you're talking about ingredients, it's like if you want it to be pine, it needs to say Pinus sylvestris, which is the Latin name for pine, not methyl this or dimethyl that, or like the chemical constituents of that pine. That means it's definitely made in a lab. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Pine, we mentioned pine for testosterone boosting. There's two plants. The Scots pine, SCOTS, Scots pine, is known for that higher content of testosterone in the pollen. And then there's one that has a lot of scientific evidence, scientific proof around or supporting pollen use for testosterone. And that one's called the mason pine, MASON, mason pine, which has the highest amount per 10 grams of pollen. I think I wrote it down here on this page somewhere. 10 grams. Yeah, 10 grams of pollen contain 0.8 milligrams of testosterone. So herbalists often use that for boosting testosterone for men. And women do need testosterone too. So if you grab some pine needles that have a little pollen on them, make a tea out of it, you're going to get a boost of vitamin C and just a little bit of pollen in it.
Yeah. Pine needle tea. Have you done that?
Oh yeah, me and the kids used to do pine needle tea all the time in the winter. I'd bring hot water in a thermos and we'd go hiking, and then we'd grab pine needles and shove them in the hot water thermos, and then they would drink pine needle tea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or just even simmering on the stove too
Oh
is
yeah,
so
that
amazing.
with some cinnamon sticks to just give you that Christmas scent. Now we have Christmas spirit, the essential oil we can diffuse, but before I used that, yeah, I just simmered stuff, stuff that
Mhm.
we collected, and we always collected stuff. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's the fun of scavenging, hunting, and seeing what's available right there.
I got a text message just yesterday from my niece she just turned 21, I think. She's in her third year of college. And she said, I'm geocaching with my boyfriend. I haven't done this since I was a little kid with you. And we would go hiking. And so she was texting me and sending me pictures of the geocaches that they were finding. And it was like, there's a trickle down effect from being an auntie. I don't have the joys of being mom. So that's like, I take it where I get it when they send me pictures and I haven't had an effect on their life. So, but yeah,
Beautiful. That's
yeah,
awesome.
we definitely harvested our fair pine cones. She loved pine cones. And I remember carrying bags of pine cones back. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love this combination this week. This is just what you and I both needed for all the things that we're running through this week. So keep it diffusing, keep breathing in those oils, keep dropping them on your head, and enjoying all the rest of the benefits that it can bring to your day.
Next Thursday, we'll have 3 or 4 more oils. We're going to wrap this book up by the end of the month. So we still have about 3 weeks of different oils and herbs that we're going to be talking about. So we invite you to back. We're here usually on Thursdays. Today we're off on a different day because some things came up. It was a beach day yesterday. But do come back. This is called the Plant Power Half Hour. You can actually find it on YouTube on my Lisa Mosbey channel. But if you just search for the Plant Power Half Hour, you'll be able to get previous episodes. So we pull them off Facebook, so they're really easy to find if you want to look at other things that we've done, other plants that we've talked about. Check out that resource. And Paula, I'll see you again next Thursday.
Sounds great. See you then.